Hey folks, Nick Tockert here with the Historical Fencing Guild. Well, I hope you're having a lovely night. I know I'm having a difficult one, but we're gonna get through it. I'm just gonna put my whoops, that's the wrong banner. Put my nose to the grindstone, and we're gonna make this all work. So first off, please remember the Historical Fencing Guild is brought to you by the Simple Sword and the Fighting Axe, both available through Amazon at www.amazon.com/author/Nicholas Tockert. These are part of my ongoing series bringing basic historical martial arts to you in plain, simple English. This is a thick volume, I admit, but this is a magnum opus with new volumes being added quite frequently. And when I say quite frequently, friends, viewers, listeners, I mean quite frequently. That's right, folks. You're getting a sneak preview. Look at that. Volume 3 is getting its this is my final go through. When I check the edits and I mess around with a few of the images, and then it will be going up as soon as I can fix my reoccurring scanner issue. This is exciting news. So, that's good. On the downside, I've had real world life that is now tantalizingly approaching $4,000 of unexpected cost. So if you want to go buy my books, now is a great time. But if you want to support this channel and what we're doing here, please consider joining the Historical Fencing Guild Patreon, where as little as $1 a month, one gets you sneak previews to things like this, exclusive content, and the right to request videos that will be made just for you. And we will happily, friends, I'll be excited to bring to you whatever we need. Now, I know I'm running a little late. We've had some technical issues, and that's okay. So first, let's bring myself to the front if I can. Because, yep, there we go. I had to stretch a bit. Needed the elbow room, because Lord knows I like to gesticulate. That means waggle my hands a lot. So, this week, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, first off, anything you want to talk about. I will be giving a hint on why the simple spear has been one of the hardest things I've ever written. And we're going to go further into perusing our good friends at Purple Heart Armory, because I haven't done that lately. Now, if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the chat. I will be happy to respond to them. And the show usually goes about an hour for any new people. Much more than that, it can be a little trying for me. I've moved my meds around, so life is a little easier there. And what we're going to do is talk about swords and shenanigans, things we've seen in movies, whatever floats your boat. Now, when we talk, and please like, share, and subscribe to this video, because unfortunately, I teach people how to sword fight with synthetic weapons. So things like, let me move. This cable is in the way. But things like this little guy. And unfortunately, the YouTube algorithm considers me a weapon-based channel, like the gun channel sometimes, and that suppresses me. There's some issues with it due to misunderstanding. I'm working on it, but right now I'm just a small enough channel they don't really care. We are joined in the chat by the delightful Cindy Kep. Good evening. Good evening, Cindy. Yes, Cindy, I'm so excited. I've got a couple, one or two images I want to do, and maybe one or two I want to replace and edit if I can get the system to work. If not, I'm totally okay putting this out as well as it is, knowing that some stuff that's coming down the pipe is exciting. And oh yes, here, Cindy, this is the Simple Spear, the Historical Fencing Guild's Manual Defense Volume 3 in handy dandy. I have to edit in paperback, guys. When it comes down to it, I have to feel the paper in my hands. Now, I hope the print transfers over as nice as this did, but you'll see the return of my famous stick figures, as a lot of this was set up during my hand trouble, so it's not as elaborate as my art can be, but people seem to like it. It's just got some little, you see red, that's what happens when you marry someone who got an A in her copy editing course. So yes, that is a spear. Yes, it is fantastic. This will be out, hook or crook, this week. This coming week. It has to be done before my birthday because that's the deadline. So I want this out so I can both relax and enjoy and knock out some of these partial fun fiction I get to wander around in worlds projects. Because I'm going to tell you something. This is a little more Arthur-y for my other show, which is Nevermind the Furthermore, where I host for authors and creatives of that type. It's intense writing a manual because you have to be so specific and you have to be so you can't be long-winded, but you have to keep it to the point. And it's a lot of work. And I am finding that these little guys, because of the brevity they force, are a different kind of challenge. Writing the Simple Sword for me was sort of, I considered it my capstone, my thesis paper. This is the sum of proving what I've learned throughout like the college years. Oh, and Cindy does the bulk of her drafting and editing on paper too. Wonderful. I love to write in margins, but so I had a lot of notes, a lot of checked sources and things. Now in stereo. Actually, my tablet ran out of gas, so I switched to my real computer. I understand that my phone is quite dubious right now, which stinks because I was having conversations. I had plans to go up and see my family, my parents and my brothers, and my many nieces and nephews. And that got canceled because the brakes went out on Amanda's truck. Well, my truck that, she was driving because her car, her SUV kind of thing, broke down. And everything's okay, but they didn't have the parts. So they did part of the job and sent us with the rig home so that we can order the parts and get it done. So on top of the $4,000 I took, last week when they told me what it's going to cost to try to raise and fix the other car, I got hit with about 700, it's looking like, to fix this one. So things have been a little interesting in the Tucker household and a few other reasons, but not all my stuff needs to be aired. Hi, Joe. Joe's out here and Thesis is out here. Starting to feel like a show. I tell you, it was feeling like the old days for a bit. I was talking to an empty chat, which has not happened on this show in a long time. And folks are greeting each other. I was genuinely worried that somehow I had lost my mojo. And everybody's greeting each other. That's right. That's great. But yes, guys, my personal excitement is next week. Next week, this won't be my bootleg. Won't be the only copy in paper. The Simple Sword, Simple Spear. Sorry. It'll be right almost in time for the 6-year anniversary of the Simple Sword. Hey, I was here, and we appreciate you. I knew somebody was here. I just didn't know who. But 6 years that the Simple Sword has been out. And I talk about this. You know me. I tend to. Yeah, I know. You've got a lot, and it's hard to choose between the noble study of the sword and the ignoble merriments of a certain green room. And I don't blame you a bit, Joe. I'm sure Richie's there too. But this, guys, we're coming up on the 6-year anniversary. So next week I'll be talking a lot about this series. This is a great book. I find myself going back to it because it is a full introduction to how to learn to sword fight and how to teach people to sword fight. This is the book I wish I had in 2000, 2001 when I was learning the sword and learning, kind of getting hoodwinked into teaching. Oh, he hasn't. I am shocked. Uh, uh, people, because when you have a complaint about something, you complain, that's justified, then you get up and you do something about it. Much like my opinion on prayer, you pray for something and then you get up and do what you can to facilitate. So, what's on the menu tonight? Well, on the menu tonight, I was thinking we would do a quick peruse through my favorite sword replay. Oh, Pop's in. I bet there's a lot of hop to your pop, Foxy. Yep. Hi, Foxy. And yeah, we're making things happen. If you're watching the show and you're not in the chat, please get in the chat. Turn the chat on, or else I will sound schizophrenic because I talk to these lovely people you can't see. Oh, that's good. Okay. Aw, well then maybe you can get a nice relax, have some pizza, maybe get a back rub later. Just relax. This is fine. We're in a fairly mellow night. But we had a few things. In case because I honestly can't remember since last week if I announced it or not. The Gary Shakespeare Company indefinitely canceled their bid at the park due to weather. So that is kind of out the window, which is sad. It would have been great to do a demo, but Foxy Thesis says, "Don't let him fool you, folks. We're all figments of his imagination, and anyone who's actually gamed with me knows that's quite possible. I, however, lack the talent of typing nor the technological wizardry to keep that many fake accounts going, let alone at once. Although you'd be shocked at what people think I'm capable of. Imagination is the stuff of reality. Absolutely." I saw something, and this is a digression, but it's something I pay attention to. I pay attention to strange things. Orangutans have been found. Some have acquired handsaws. We're not sure where they got handsaws, but they were seen sawing and using a handsaw to saw through wood. And it's interesting because one finds what's the difference. And right now it is the capacity to imagine and then manifest our imaginations. And part of what we do is everybody here imagined at some point they read a book or a comic or saw a movie and they thought, I want to do that. I want to sword fight. I want to be a Jedi. I want to be Zorro. I want to be a pirate on the high seas, or a pirate, on the high seas. I mean, I remember when there's a new divider. I think when somebody goes, "What does a pirate sound like?" and if a certain generation will go, "Yar, me hearties," and that Yorkshire accent born from the original actor who played Long John Silver. And so there was that's the root of everybody thinking pirates were like, "Arr, yeah, I'll be getting you now, me mateys, hardy har har har," and instead, now they're all like, "Your problem is not the problem. Your problem is your problem with the problem." It's all very, very Jack Sparrowy, and it's neat to see that evolution. We've got some commentary. Thesis is a happy puppy. Halloween candy is at local grocery stores. I don't know what you're talking about. Thank you. This isn't that bag, but thank you, Joe and Trelena. You know why. Spooky season has begun, and I am here for it. I nearly threw on one of my favorite Halloweeny movies of all time because it's early enough I can watch it and then be in the mood by Halloween, being Sleepy Hollow, which anyone who's a BBC fan or Star Wars fan should watch that, because there we go, I got all fingers to work that time. 1, Darth Maul, Darth Sidious, and Darth Tyrannus. 3 Sith from the movies are in Sleepy Hollow. Mind you, you don't see uh, Ray Park's face because he does all the off the horse stunts as the Headless Horseman while he is, cranially impaired. But that, and two of the townsfolk are the Ian Malcolm and uh, Christopher Lee. So Christopher Lee plays the judge. So yes, watch that movie from that angle. What's a pirate's favorite letter? You think it's R, but it be the C. Just ask Brandy. She's a fine girl. What a good wife she would be. But his life, his love, and his lady is the sea. And why they never did something with that on Sesame Street, I'll never know. Let's see. I wish some of the stuff that goes in my construction project was just part of my imagination. I do too. I've got a lot of pretty insane things going on right now that I would love to blink and wake up from, but we'll make it work. And Johnny freaking Cage. Hey, Johnny, how you doing? So that's why Ray Park lost his mind, literally had no head. I was not aware that Ray Park has suffered any mental derangement. I hope not. He's one of my favorite martial artists in film. A lot of people give the whole bit with Toad a lot of flack, but I thought it was funny, and I don't care. And it will be interesting to see. One thing I like is how martial arts and weapon-based martial arts are applied in movies that aren't solely about that. So when we think of things like Captain America's shield work, very few people talk about that from a martial perspective. Okay, he did some weird things, nothing worth looking into. Post-COVID, pandemic, whatever, I don't really hold it against anybody. And I know I'm not supposed to say that word, but I'm not like speaking on it. I'm using it as a time thing. Lisa says there was a particularly well done Jack Sparrow at the Ren Fair. I fully intended on getting a picture with him, but things happened. Yeah, that was a rough Ren Fair for you. I hope the next one you go to is much less exciting, at least that way. But yes, for the topic of today's program, I don't really have a lot of one because I've been working my butt off. Basically, I've been trying to check and fine tune the phrasing of the simple spear and plot what I'm going to do after while I'm letting that percolate because I have a lot. And one thing I find is when things look rough, you can either be immobilized by it, which happens, or you can let that start to condense into fueled by spite. And Lord knows I'm fueled by spite. And I'll be honest, I've never been good with the whole birthday thing. So some people are, I'm not good at it. I'm not good at birthdays. I'm not good at, what's your favorite blankety blank? It's just every year, like clockwork, something about this time goes catastrophically wrong. I've been trained. So I flinch around it. But that's okay. Because we're still going to do stuff. So I was thinking we might just do a shop and drool through PHA, see if Purple Heart Armory has anything new or spanky, because I haven't checked on them in a while. And I'm using my affiliate link that is the Purple Heart, www.woodswords.com/ and click equals 1745. Or is it question mark? Is that what I've been doing wrong this whole time? Anyway, there's something wrong with that, but we're going to check on that later. And about that wish list, I will sit down and do a refined wish list for what I need. It's, like I said, it's very, very hard for me to do so, but I will attempt to do so. Which sounds odd. I'm just not good at asking for stuff. But If there are no present questions, although I think we might, let me go back. Would you like me to do a deep dive conversation, say, maybe next week? Well, next week is going to be um, a delayed celebration of 6 years of the Simple Sword, where we're going to talk about that. I want to reach out to people I've trained with, see if I can get anybody to come out. If not, because that'll be Wednesday that all goes down. I may do a special, never mind the furthermore for it. But I'd like to do a discussion of the weapon based martial arts you see in films that it's not about that. For example, going back to the Avengers, Clint Barton, a Hawkeye, he learned extremely high levels of archery because he thought he needed to, and instead was told that the way they shoot archery for movies is radically different, especially since Jessica Biel took out like, what was it, a $40,000 camera by shooting and hitting the lens instead of hitting the protector thing. Oh, that's good. Boink. Foxy, don't forget to like and all. Yeah, that's right, folks. Please like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to tip your host. Okay, I can put that. If you want to tip me, paypal.me/Nicholas Talkert. That's how I accept money. If there's another way that would work better for you, let me know. I will gladly be amiable, but not too far. This isn't cow tipping. Important tip: if at first you don't succeed, don't try hang gliding. 2 weeks from tomorrow is Foxy's birthday. Yay! I hope your 28th is as glorious as it should be, Foxy. Hush you. Anyway, let's bring that up and let's see what we have, because we're almost to the half-hour line already. And I love having you guys here because I can chat. If you come up with questions, comments, something we could discuss, fire away. This is a very informal day. I'm used to having to juggle all these ads that I run to help people. And it's funny because, do I have access to them? No, I don't. I'd have to hop over and it would get very confusing very fast. I'll have to do something about that. Mwahaha. 28. That was, well, slightly more than a decade ago. Shh. No one knows. Hush you. I mean, just because I looked like I was geriatric at 30 doesn't mean you. I'm not the type that hides their age. Forgetting, yes, but hiding, no. Oh, I rarely know what my age is, which shouldn't be a problem, but it surprisingly is. Let's see here. Let's do the time warp again. Foop. Here we are. We'll do that. We'll do that so I can see what I'm doing on my screens. And we'll go here. Nope, sorry, Christian. We're just doing the live show. I almost commented. We're just doing the live show touring. We haven't done that enough. But let's start with deal of the day. See what's on. View all deal of the day, if anything special. So now that the Simple Spear is making its way out, what's the next? Well, basically what I have is a whole bunch of work in progress fiction, and I need to get those codified and probably out at least as ebooks, depending on length, because I have a few that are almost done, and I promised you guys nothing would come out from my end till this book was done. I think I may have put too much pressure on myself. But after that, the next book in the series will probably be a variant of the Strong Sword, where I talk about concussive weapons, two-handed swords, and pole arms more fully. So a lot of the material from the Simple Spear will be in there, but more towards a more dynamic, aggressive fighting style. Because while they are all viable by themselves, they are meant to build on its Nice, nice, India. I respect that. I'm not going to give the answer, but I respect it. But it builds on the previous. So concepts you find in discussing the simple sword leak over to the fighting axe, leak over to the simple spear, will leak over to the strong sword, will leak over to eventually a book on spear fighting. I have a few other things that need to be tweaked depending on what feels right. Um, I eventually want to do a attached book, which isn't going to be part of this series, but will be basically the Line Commander's Handbook, a guide for working and training skirmish fighters. You know, taking a small group of people and turning them into a fighting unit for, again, things like SCA, HEMA, Amp Guard, other LARPs. Pick Canarak, pick a group. It'll be, but there is a lot coming, and like I said, I want to nearly double my Amazon my Amazon links by the end of next year. I would like to have a total of 20 publications through there, at least. Now, I do have some game stuff coming out real soon, including the Hybrids, the Sons of Gods, the full RPG. That one's getting final editing and tweaks, and then Luke's going to make it beautiful. Three games I've been involved with in the background will be coming out. That Jody McPhee, if he stays on course, will be doing some variant of the AWF wrestling game, and a totally different game I did for Telepathic Bunny and Buddy Lord called Writer's Rule. Whole different mechanic, really advanced. I'm really proud of it. It's totally outside of the base +2 system. So that's coming out. There's a third edition of Big Snoppy Robots that will be a major life bucket list, something I've been trying to accomplish since I considered game design as a child. So 30 plus years in the work to get that going. I'll be playtesting that this year. I have a lot coming. But for now, let's see what's for sale. Book of Fencing Skills Mare. 64 is a bit spicy. It's on a little bit of a sale, but that's a bit spicy. The Art of Longsword Fighting. Sigmund Ringnecks by Benjamin Smith or Benjamin Ann Smith. Haven't read that, but I've seen some stuff of a Ringneck's work, so that could be good. Two-handed fighting is not my current bailiwick. 19-inch little clubby stick for $4. Yeah, they're sold out, so we don't have to worry about that. Yay. Dag Bong. So basically clubby club sticks for 2 for $14. That's not terrible, but not anything. Woman's fencing pants, white, large, 350 Newton. That's not bad. Oh god, back in the day I would have killed for that. Ringen jacket. Ooh, that's nice. Light fencing pants, medium, 120. Looks like there's been ladies, there is some nice gambesons out there. Nice fencing armor unexpectedly on sale. Now, I am far too chunky for any of this, which is tragic because I love that style of does that show? Oh, okay. I see what's wrong. That doesn't show my pointer. So, okay. Some of the jackets are on sale, X large. Those are good prices, but they're not that good. Wheel pommels, $1. $1. 5 left. That if you have one and you got a scent stopper and you want that extra weight, that's a scary good deal. Black left large. I feel bad, but that looks like a band conductor's or a marching band's jacket. So there's no way I would, for $300, I would get into that. Okay, so nothing spanky except for the pommels, which we'll have to think about. We'll kick the blades. Let's see. Oh, I have a comment dump. Look at you all wonderful people. Very few people would believe I'm turning 42 this year. I'm turning 41 next week. I'm a year short of 40, or will be in a week. Oh, cool. They say you're old as you feel, and well, today I'm that old. Speaking of spear, I made a joke that your treaties are missing the most important attack, the dreaded boop. A boop on the snoot is a sign of pure affection, and that actually is planned when I get done with this whole volume, when I get done with this whole project of the major weapon classes. I still have to do a knife book. I still have to do a staff book. I have a lot to do. I'm going to do one about sword mastery, probably weapons mastery as a concept. And I want it to be the not next edition, but the next level from the simple sword, where I'm looking at it from the guy who's built groups, had them fall apart, rebuilt them. I've got a lot of water under my bridge, and I've been through a lot, and I want to try to take that knowledge and some of that, dare I say, wisdom, and compile it with the training techniques. And ironically, the dreaded boop will probably be in there in one form or another. What'll make you feel old? Realizing everyone you work with, except for your boss, is young enough that they could have been one of your 4th grade classes. I've had that happen where I was working places and kids I had subbed for or were in my elementary art program way back in the day. I was in an after-school program I was running that turned out to be a little shadier than I liked, but most of that isn't quite right. It wasn't working for what they wanted. I saw some kids that I knew from there, and I was like, they have their own kids. That's shocking. Thesis says, my mom is like that. You know what? Hold on. I'm not looking at PHA right now. I can just do this. Let's make my life a little easier. Okay. Wow. Okay. Sorry. For almost 40 years. So now she's teaching the children and grandchildren of students she taught years ago. Isn't that a fascinating place to be, though? One of my students that I taught when I was a sub regularly, darling gentleman, wonderful gentleman by the name of Sterling Freeman, and he's a tattooist now. He's got a wife and kids, and I look back and I part of me still thinks of him as the kind of the goofball I identified with. Like, you make sense to me when I was his age, and I'm just so dang proud, and it's such an honor to see that, because if you teach someone and you do it right, someone will take the lessons you've bestowed on them and teach another. And if it's done right, you're providing a light that transcends your limits. It transcends your mortality. That's part of why I wrote my book. That's why I write books. That's why I teach so many, and I do a format like this where people can rewind. It's a privilege and an honor to know that the lessons I have are as much, my ideas are much like my progeny. I have my son. I love my son. He is my world. And I'm working to build as best a place I can for him. But I also understand that he has special needs, and his impact in the world may be more subtle than some people's, and that's okay. The I've worked most of my adult life with special needs before I stopped to take care of Xander, and I've had people, don't you feel you're wasting your time? Because any good you're doing for them is not going to go any farther than today. And that's something I catch a lot, and I will say that that's absolute balderdash. If you help one person, and only one person, you only manage to help someone other than yourself, you've done good, and that matters. If I were looking for fame, wealth, power, etc., I mean, that'd be useless. And, you would cast such small things aside. And that's why the world needs people who are willing to help one person or help somebody who can't ever help them back. And that's why good teachers are so crucial. And I hope I classify. Wrestling word mentioned. Engage mark mode. Woohoo! Yes. I was really thinking of trying to make a boffer folding chair. And it would be very tricky to do safely, but I'm really tempted to try to make a safer boffer folding chair just for the raw shenanigans of pulling the folding chair out, bonk, in a practice, which is not mature or sane, but I don't really claim to be either of those things all that often. Years ago, when I started boffering, and around here you have to be sure to say boffering because boffing has an entire different meaning. Every time I stabbed someone, I would subconsciously say, boop. It got to the point where others would do it too. Yep. Boop, boop. Just seeing some of my friends having kids is scary enough. It is a process. Let's see. Comment dump. Yay. I've been talking too much. There we go. She works with special needs children and has basically her entire career. You better believe when I got in trouble, they didn't send me to the principal. I got sent to mom. Isn't that kind of scary? I know what you mean, Johnny. Most of the people I went to high school with have kids starting high school. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here with my deluxe edition of Skyrim. Oh, Thesis, that's awfully accurate. Johnny says, just make sure the chair is flat on the back when you hit it. Absolutely. Absolutely, because that is an art form. And one nice thing is I have enough professional wrestlers in my circle I can ask for advice. But thank you, because you're totally right. Pro, semi-pro, and semi-pro and independent guys. But yeah. To your thing about deluxe edition, if you do it right, you can have kids and still play Skyrim. I do. And right now I haven't played a lot of it because I haven't been in the mood. Skyrim is more of a winter game for me for obvious reasons, but yeah, you can do that. Now, wow, we're almost 40 minutes in. This is good. Let me see. Let me go back. I want to see if there are any new trainers because they don't do the best job announcing trainers. And I want to go back here. And I want to go back here. I want to see if there's anything here. No kid. No kid's not fit to be a dad. And I respect that. I really do. I had certain obligations that required me to be a dad, and not the way that sounds. I am the eldest son of a line where my name is nearly extinct. There are very few of us. We're finding more, but there aren't many left. So I had an obligation to have a child in hopes of preserving the family line. And then my brother went out and had two and married a remarried to a lovely lady with 5 children. So at least the mental heritage of our family and the genetics are well represented. But yes, kids are off the table for us by choice. Oh, okay, wow, that's a great question, and I guess that will keep me from going back into sales. Cool. If the ground is slickery, what is the best way to attack or defend? That is that's where we start getting into real world fighty things. So, sliding elbow drop. And Johnny, you're not actually terribly wrong on that. That's what's funny. If the ground is slippery, okay, and you are sparring, don't. It isn't worth twisting an ankle, hurting yourselves, etc. It really isn't worth fighting in that because you're more likely to do damage to yourself than others. Now, if you have no point, no choice, you need a low, controlled stance. It is much better, especially in that, to be in a defensive position because when they attack with whatever they're attacking, it's better to be able to respond. And being grounded, if possible, is good. The other thing is, now if we're talking real world, this is where you have to be prepared to go to the ground if it's really slippery and expect it to get ugly. That's why MMA guys train in judo and BJJ so much. You got to be able to do some stuff on the ground. This situation gets real important. If you can see where the ice is and they can't, very often I teach people to maneuver your opponents into the sun to gain an advantage. Basic skill set. Your weapon set is not based solely on what you're carrying, and it includes what your opponent is carrying. It includes the scenery, the setting, the lighting, the mental place of your opponent. Your armaments are nigh infinite if you have a mind flexible enough to perceive them. So, in a slickery position, the best thing to do is get yourself into a non-slick space and force your opponent to fight from disadvantage. Obviously, that is the time where all the pretty lungy things go right out the window because the recovery is non-existent unless you're very good. Now, that being said, I have both done a 15-foot lunge because it was ice and they were backing up, and I threw the lunge and just kept going, and they kept backing, and then they fell down, and I stabbed them. That was when I was young. I could be wider stanced and deal with it. Now I wouldn't try something that ridiculous. Or the other option is getting low. If you can fight from your knees, being able to choose that you're sliding, dropping to your knees and fighting from that position, taking out their legs when they come down, taking them out. Very solid. But you don't want to be trying to do anything pretty on the slick stuff. And it's one of those, a balance of, do you practice in that condition or do you avoid it? And that's a great point for the realism, much like heat or extreme cold. We have trained and fought in all of it: rain, heat. I'm talking hundreds, 120 plus temperature. We've fought in utterly frigid, many degrees below zero with wind and stuff. And if you look through the channel, you'll see some of that. Rough terrain, even terrain. If you can do it safely, train in it. If you can't do it safely, you don't want to be put in a position to fight in it. If you have no choice, like, say, the smooth stone thing that you're going up to the castle has been oiled, they want to either get out of there or, again, fight from a very controlled position, but you're at a massive disadvantage and you have to work around it. I hope that answers your question. It's a great question. It's a challenging question because many times good footwork. I know, guys, I stress and I strain. And if you work with me, if you ever train with me, hold on, because I get to pull out of the simple sword here. There is a chart I will push a lot, and I just need to remember where it is. Right here. This, not that. That's not what we want to do at all. This is. Now, this chart you will find actually cut and pasted right into the simple spear because it applies. This is how you move. Okay? You move the foot that is in the direction you want to go first. Okay? So, when you're fighting, okay, foot goes forward, foot goes back. Back goes forward, back, front comes behind. The foot that's farther to the right, in this case, when I'm standing in a classic offensive stance, so let me put something pokey in my hand. Okay, offensive stance. I'm going right, my lead foot, my right foot goes right, and then I go. You do only about a foot step, a single footprint's width each step. It means you take a lot of steps and you take a lot back. But what that's going to do is maintain your balance. Now, one of the great points of argument, and there are certain points that swordmasters argue, is whether you pick your foot up or whether you let it drag. Many, many swordmasters will insist that you pick your foot up and set it down with every step. Now, I do not do that, and this is my reasoning. I tend to have my foot drag so that I can feel, because it's combined with my footwork, when there's a log or a stick or a rock or a gopher hole, I can feel it and adjust instead of being fully committed to having my foot come down on a log, stick, gopher hole. You know, that is a form of tacto. It's just like the blade on blade information. Your foot is telling you about your settings. And if you know, whoa, that area is slick, maybe you rotate around. And now you're going to bid your opponent, please come step where it's slick. I'm going to open the door and encourage you to attack me with a void. You know, I'm going to leave a gap that I know is there as a feint to get you to maybe take that side step where it's slick, overcommit, and go down. Because if you go down, I can real world escape. Fantasy / novel / battlefield scenario, going for the kill. And I want to specify that and I want to drive that home. Because when we are talking about martial arts, anytime your opponent is down, if they are unarmed, your goal should be to escape. Not engage them, not take advantage, because legally, my job is to neutralize the threats. And legally, if you have an opportunity to leave in a self-defense situation, you have to leave. If you fail to, I whip my mouse at my foot. If you fail to, you are putting yourself in danger. Hold on. My computer's being a little screwy. There we go. Because, where is it? There it is. The obligation in defense is escape. You are to try to distance yourself from the attack whenever possible. Any measure you take beyond that has to be because you had no other choice. And just like anything I do, I hate to say it, are there a variety of things I could do, even in my physically limited state, possibly, to, well, maybe I'm not the best case, but let's say somebody who's actually in good shape. They have a lot more shape. Are there things they could do to neutralize a threat instantly? Absolutely. And I'll be honest, I've known dudes. I have associated with deadly dudes who their response is, I'll just shoot them. We can't live that way, so we can't train that way. If that means you lose a game or two because of the meta of it, accept it. It's better to be real world trained and lose because somebody's metagaming than be metagame trained and try to use it in the real world. Sydney, go. Okay, we've got a couple more concepts. Let's see. My brother has a son. Several cousins have sons, so I don't think there's that much danger of my family name dying out for me. My brain just about the phrase, well, you change it daily. No, that's a joke. My brother spawned, I'm off the hook. Good to know. Depending on your style, but for me, it's a solid footwork. Yep, keep your core low, your roots strong. Me personally, I'm moving constantly anyway, so I'm used to the ground moving under me. And a lot of it's getting that feeling because sometimes stopping, it's like driving a car where when it's slick, sometimes brakes are the worst thing you can do. And a lot of it is if you have the option, practice. I'm used to things slipping about, so I just go with it. Yeah, nothing wrong. Yep. What do you do to keep in mind if you are on sand or loose gravel? And Foxy kicks in sand moves, gravel, you're more likely to turn an angle. Okay. The trick with sand and gravel is you have to be able to adjust your timing. Because sand and gravel both slow your launch and slow your stop. Okay. There's a better dig in where more energy is exerted to get short, rapid movements. So you have to be very light and controlled when you're on sand or gravel. You don't want to do a hard dig in because if you do a hard dig in, apparently I am live. Thank you for the notification. You do a hard dig in, one, you are running the chance of that ankle roll. And rolling an ankle is not something you want to do in a fight. Also, deadly dudes. Do something with that. That sounds amazing. And maybe I will. A hate thing going. Yeah, gravel depends on the gravel. Regular gravel, I've spent so much time on, I'm used to that rolly feel. And that's part of why my feet don't leave the ground much. So I can feel if it's a big rock that would disturb my balance on landing or not. That's why a lot of, if you watch, I walk with a dragging gait almost. It's very rare. My feet don't come up very far or very long. So my footprints tend to have a long swath of glide above them where I'm literally feeling the ground as I go. I've always walked that way. They tried to cure me of it as a child. And it was just, I learned to walk like my dad. My dad walks like he spent a lot of time in Southeast Asia. And see, if I do that, I feel the stick and I don't step on the stick and snap the stick in the woods. So it's a very quiet heel to toe, and my heel is never far from the ground style of walking. I have very widespread feet because of my promenation things. So I walk like this. That means I'm actually fairly stable at that level because my ankles are malformed. So I have to always be stable. But you have to, with gravel, it can impede. With sand, the nice thing about sand is sand's better if you have to go down and come back up because you're not going to take damage. So if you feel yourself falling, there's less damage from the impact and from what's in the sand usually to take it, roll, and pop back up than you might have with hard earth and definitely gravel. Gravel is a nightmare to have to do like a dive roll across. And that pain can, you can damage yourself worse and it can distract you, and the distraction can get you killed. That's why you always want to be upright. You want to be conscious of how you move. You don't want to be thinking about how you're moving, but you want to be aware. We got to trademark that. I might do something with that. Oh, that's the name of your new wrestling stable. Awesome. Plot twist. You all have horrendous gas. That's unpleasant. I would tell you this: fighting with stomach distress is very distracting. I'm talking real world. Fighting while injured is very distracting. It's different. That's why you train your body and you work with gross, simple motions. This is why I don't teach elaborate trick shots and things, because you're when you're exhausted, when you're hot, when you're wounded, that won't work right. Your brain doesn't want to do it. And that's why I fixate on keeping your approaches very simple. That's why it's the simple sword. Now, there are other people who teach whirly motions, and here's another good point. And thank you, because you've led me into it. I don't teach Meyer. Have you ever noticed that? And even when I'm doing staff work or other stuff, it's not a lot of dramatic, big, swirly motions all the time. I'm about the conservation of energy. And part of it is, if you're used to taking a great big sword and doing, and I can't remember the German name for it, but basically the helicopter cuts. Those get real shady, real fast on a slick basis. Let's see, we got trademark that. I've already made Nick a couple times in my WWE games, so I'm gonna have to remember that name for a stable. That's funny. Fighting injured is fighting dirty. Any fight, I'll fight dirty. I want to go home, and that's the reality. It's a balance of the legality of where you are and why you're fighting. Because I had a rousing conversation actually with Brian Rodman of Memoirs of an Angel, a wonderful author and creator. He's done a lot of things. He does comics. And I was talking, the intent of the fight is much more important than the morality of how when it comes to self-defense. It's like, will I use pocket sand on somebody? Yeah. Will I lie and say, look, there's a dog? Canine atheism. There is no dog. Yeah, I've done that. These are things I've had to do. Scenery, fight like a Sith, throw things, cheat, yell, scream, whatever will get you attention to survive. But you don't want to do anything that will worsen your situation. So, and it's John makes a valid point of I'll deal with the legal aspect once I'm sure I'll live. And that's literally the trick, is being able to realize that. Okay? That's why that's the difference from stepping in for the kill. If they are incapacitated, if I'm getting mugged by somebody and I take my cane and I pop them on the kneecap and I get a lucky shot and I break their kneecap and they go down, that's where it stops in self-defense. I can leave now, and I should. That's what I'm talking about, knowing when it's time to end the fight without having to go to permanent solutions. Silver Ochre says, the complicated cutlass, advanced techniques that are guaranteed to get you hurt or dead. oh, Lord save me. Whew. That's beautiful. Hi, Ogre. It's been a while. Silver Ogre's joining us. You ought to join back up on the Patreon, Ogre. We miss you. And it'd give you a chance to see my book before I have to take it down for publishing. But I like that. Be a great comedy. But you'll look good doing it. Oh, God. I may have to do something with the complicated cutlass. Oh, God. Oh, that is funny. That's genuinely funny. Oh, God. But, well, we're at just over an hour, so I'll chat a little bit because we haven't seen Ogre in a while. Yeah, so understanding your background and going into it as prepared as possible. Just make a parody of the Simple Sword point by point. Wow, that would be a lot of work. Point by that'd be a lot of work. I hope you've read it. If you haven't, you really should. It's a good book. The guy who wrote it's a little flaky, but that's okay. But will you start by saying the sharp point doesn't? The sword is a complete weapon. Use whatever edge works best for you. Oh my gosh. I feel so dirty. Anyway, in lines of succession / a suitable arrangement, one of the 3 starred styles has a lot of spinny, twirly moves, and one of the fencing instructors wastes no time to explain how dumb that is. I love that because I've done that. I've had people who've claimed martial arts and their martial art was apparently flag corps, and they're swirling and they're twirling, and I'm just standing there and I watch. I'm out of reach. So they're, what do you think of this? And I'm like, I know your measure. I know how far you can reach. I'm beyond your measure. And they throw a shot, and I wouldn't flinch because I'm out of the way. Do something else, and then wait for throw a shot, stab them right behind it. Please don't get caught up in doing pretty stuff. There is pretty stuff out there, and it can look pretty. I've been told by people I look pretty when I'm drilling, and the methods I do look fluid and stuff. And especially my wife, it drives her nuts. She's like, "It's not fair. When you drill, you look pretty." I'm not sure how to comment on that. I think she's just a little blinded by the fact she has affection for me, because I see myself as this kind of roundish little man going through the drills that stretch out my back and wrist and make sure, okay, if I do this, does that feel good? It's very diagnostic, but apparently I look pretty. One of these days I will film my actual, how I drill versus how I warm up and things, because very few people ever see it because I usually do it before people arrive. And Silver Ogre actually is, I've been standing very still like Drax. He's learned to stand so still, he disappears. Cindy says, get the Big Stompy Robots. Yes, please. Get this book. It is a great game. It is a great chunk of world building. And I am doing multiple novellas set in this world. I have several that are I'm hoping to have out very soon. 2 are already out, those being Eyes to the Sky and Small Arms. More are coming. Please follow this, because this is going to be a great universe. If you want to try the game, you can download the rules through Amazon for 99 cents, or you can get an app with a dice roller for 99 cents from bit.ly/JB Tech Apps, because Joe Bachman does that. He made this wonderful simple roll. Right now, it gives the drift roll in degrees, which is a little rough to work with. It's still a work in progress, but it will be updated. I'm thinking hours of the clock. Anyone who has it, talk to me, or better talk to Joe and tell them your preference. When you drill, you look pretty. I'll hold the joke in. It won't be easy, but I will. Johnny, you have no idea. Anyway, one of my relations was studying college fencing and developed his own swirly moves that took him a minute to set up. But it moves so fast that when I let it go, I'd really hurt if you got hit. All right. Y'all caught me. Bless you, Cindy. Bless you, my beloved Cindy, dear friend, colleague, fellow weapons enthusiast, and hellacious author. You have my thing. When we talk about training people, there are some people you will meet, and one is, I couldn't learn to sword fight. I'd just get mad and I'd go red and just wreck everybody. And that might work in playground combat. But when you're dealing with trained people, especially if this is a setting involving veterans, that doesn't work. And if you do that to veterans, they will hurt you. One of the group of people I've had the pleasure of working with are combat veterans. And part of why I can work with them and other people can't is I can see when what I call the Marine switch gets flipped. Any person who is a United States Marine and there's no such thing as was a Marine, is a Marine or is dead, will go from themselves to Marine mode when provoked. And part of my mission with several of them has been to help them recognize when the change is upon them, much like applied lycanthropy, and control it because it's not actually a threat. Threat assessment is a thing, and that's very different from the I can't control my anger. I'm going to tell you something, especially when it comes to fighting. If you can't control your anger, somebody else will. Being angry makes you dumb. Being dumb makes you dead. Let's see. So yes, thank you. That's a wonderful comment. And I'm secret arts. Please use them. And the thing with a trick shot or a secret art is, it might work once, especially if I can't see it from body positioning. But if I can see it, or I can see a video of it, it doesn't work as a repeat. That's why it's not a technique. That's why I don't teach from the attitude of, well, this is the secret sacred martial art. You know what? I will tell, confession time. I have two secret martial arts, and I will once again regale anyone who wants to hear with them. Are you ready? Feel free to take notes. There are two secret martial arts. One is Run Like Beach. That is the martial art of realizing you are completely outmatched and outgunned in a given situation and making a tactical advance to the rear with all due haste. If you can't win, there is no shame in fleeing the enemy, unless there's a specific reason you're holding a line. The other is the secret art of Wagan Fu. The secret art of Wagan Fu is where, after conflict, you wait for honorable opponent in Walmart parking lot and run his ass over with station wagon. It is dishonorable, illegal, and morally reprehensible, but it is a secret art I am aware of. There you go. Those are my secret arts. You have learned them. I do have a couple variants I can talk about, but they're actually in the Simple Sword, so you should go buy that and read it. If you haven't, really, it's available through Kindle Direct, Kindle Unlimited. You can literally read it for free if you have the Kindle Unlimited service. Then you can buy the ebook, and I'll get paid again for it if you like it. And then if you really like it, buy the book. You can get me paid 3 times for it if I can get 3 to come out of my messed up hands. We've got some more comments. Let's see what we got. BSR. Yes, Big Stompy Robots. I want to do a comic in the Big Stompy Robots universe so bad. I've had one planned for a long time, and it will be glorious. I'm just trying to get my skills up to my vision. And that's part of why I'm working with Luke Stone on some other projects. And if I'm ever able to finish learning the programming languages that I've been tutorialing, there will be major update to the apps. Yes! Because I know something cool he's working on. Joe is setting up to do something that would be, again, on my ultimate bucket list of things I've always wanted. And I'm looking forward to it. I don't think I've ever been told I look pretty doing anything, and certainly not in drilling in either context. Actually, I've seen you move. You are very fluid, very elegant. There is a pretty there. Let's see. Comment dump. Woohoo! Boy, howdy. Sounds like Foxy's brother. I'm afraid to fight because what happens if I snap and I hurt you? I can't be held responsible for what happens because I'm so strong. I signed the waiver. Most people don't know this. If you come out and fight with me, I will print off a waiver, date, time. In fact, I'm about due for an updated one where you understand that what we're doing is dangerous and you could get hurt. Now, if you go out deliberately to hurt somebody, we'll have words. And I will respond as needed. I have turned hoses on people before. But if you sign on the dotted line, it's proceed. I'll never forget my buddy Ben Starkey. May he rest in peace. He was sitting and he's all hunched up painting. I want to say he was painting a miniature, so he was in this mode, all hunched up under his hoodie on campus. He had a booth in campus, PNC campus. This guy comes in, "Hey, you bleeping goth, I'm gonna kick your ass." And Ben proceeds to scooch out, and he stands up to his full height of like 6'6", and at the time he was only about 400 pounds. And he goes, "Proceed." And the whole place got quiet. I said, "What did you say to me?" I said, "Proceed. I accept your offer." And the guy left because he didn't know what to do with that. Funny thing is, Ben was gearing up he was in training to be in a Marine. He was in basic boot camp. And then he had a asthma attack a week before graduation and got 4F'd. It happens. But it was enough to make him Marine-like. And I do love me some Marines. Earl Harbinger is a Marine. Explains a lot. And I'm trying to remember if he is canonically or not a Marine. I don't believe he's canonically a Marine. Earl Harbinger is Earl Harbinger, but it functions that way. When the machine comes down, like in Armor by John Steele. I haven't read that. I would like to, though. That sounds interesting. Go get simple spears to fight with axes against simple swords to fight with axes against simple spears with the help of big stompy robots in a grand melee. That's coming too. I'm going to have Rolling in the Muck, the Mixed Unit Combat Coliseum. That's also the name of for a while it was the annual tournament. We made 4 years at ArcticCon before the convention ended. It will be renewing in April, and I'm planning to have another edition of the Muck, where I make a small trophy and there'll be 2 trophies, 2 versions of people duking it out. But there's also stories. I have taken aspects from those and written them into my books. It's something I want to go back to doing. The one that I accidentally won because I didn't want to be in it, but there was an empty slot. And I felt terrible winning my own game. But I do have that trophy still, and I'm rather proud of it. Even though I feel terrible. But folks, we are an hour 15. It's 9:15 my time, which means I'm going to have to hydrate and eat something real soon, and then probably hop in somewhere else to check on some good folks. So thank you for a lovely night. If you want to help, please consider becoming a Patreon member, because there you guys will get access to special documents, amazing, exclusive videos whenever you want, basically. a whole lot of things to make it worth your while. There's a couple tiers that I haven't reassigned, but I'll draw you a fictional device basically based on your interests at a certain tier. And I think I got everybody who has that. If I haven't, hit me up and we'll talk and we'll set something up for you. But if you want to read, where did it go? This, before it's fixed and published, that there is a secret link just for my Patreon members who, before next week, you'll be able to read The Simple Spear. So it's a fairly light read. It's quick. It talks about the spear, talks about accuracy, talks about the history of the spear, which kind of broke my mind. Spoiler on that, the spear is older than humanity, as in our species. Over 500,000 years old. How delightful. But we go there. Cindy Kep is also reminding you, don't forget to tip the host. So let's bring that up. If you want to make any donation, you want to give me anything for because you like what I'm doing, hit me up at paypal.me/Nicholas Talkert. Those funds will go, the money I get, unless there's a calamity, which I may be having a calamity real soon. Well, I have a calamity. I just have to figure out if it'll do any good. That I earn stay in a separate account to usually do things for the guild, barring again disaster. You can buy my books. You can support me there. You can also see more of me Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on the Nicholas Talkert YouTube channel. So after you've subscribed here, look up Nicholas Talkert, and I'll leave the PayPal because it says Nicholas Talkert in bigger letters. And subscribe there. That's my art channel. That's where some new stop motion stuff, hopefully for Big Stompy Robots, is in the works. And that's where you'll also be able to find Nevermind the Furthermore, the morning show that runs from about 10 to 11, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Wednesdays tend to go long because I'll occasionally have a guest, where authors, artists, and other creatives come together. So you can see me there. You can also see me on Nerd Bacon, currently only streamed through Luke Stone Studios at yahoo.com. And you can always find me right here on the Historical Fencing Guild Livestream, where I'm happy to answer your questions, review products, talk about things in the movies, whatever floats you guys' boat and helps to educate you. So I will see you. Oh, yes. And as Cindy Kep has mentioned, everybody have a nice weekend. Nom, nom, nom. Yes. Go to Patreon and sign up and check my art out on deviantart.com/NickT. All my links can be found at www.nicholastalkert.com. That website, as well as our StreamYard subscription for the year, has been made possible by Joe Bachman of Joe Bach Tech Apps, and please support him. So until I see you next time, guys, do your drills, keep your guard up, be kind to yourself and each other, and as always, thank you for supporting your local swordmaster. See you soon.